Hello everyone, it's Keesje. Welcome back. So today I have a project to share with you. I made this little photo book and the base is made from file folders. And the pages are covered with pretty paper. In this case, some of my more plain looking jelly prints. I thought maybe something with a pattern might be distracting from the picture. And then also I've made some inserts for where the picture can go slide into. And they are also made from jelly prints, and these ones are a little bit more pattern-like and either darker or lighter so that they stand out. And I made pockets in the bottom so that I can have a little tag in here that I can write down the information about each picture. And the photos are from quilts I made years ago. So we only need a few supplies. First we're going to use 2 file folders legal size. They are 14/5/8 by 9/5/8. And then we're going to use some pretty papers to cover our file folder with. But if you don't want to cover your file folder, then that's fine. You don't have to do that. Now you either need to use 4 or 5 12x12 pieces of paper or 6 8.5 by 11. Then you also need pretty papers for the inserts here, and you need a total of 2 12x12 or 3 8.5 by 11. Then the pockets I made are made from, I used a page protector so that when you slide your card in, you can still see what you wrote into. But you can also use acetate or mylar, and you need approximately 6 by 9 inches. And the last thing we need is a little bit of scrap cardstock for the writing cards here for the bottom. I'm going to use scrap pieces of file folders, but you need about a piece that is 6 by 9 inches, and I would not use anything lighter than a 90-pound cardstock because you do want it to be a little bit sturdy when it goes in and out of your pockets. Then you want some sort of glue or a glue stick or double-sided tape and a cutting device. I'm going to use my quilting ruler and cutter. And optional is a corner rounder if you like to round the corners, which I did in this case. But you don't have to do that. So yeah, that was it for the supply list basically, and if I forgot anything, we'll get to it and I will mention it. So yeah, let's make one. Okay, so now we're going to cut our file folder. Not all file folders are the same color even or the same size. See how here the tab is on the right and here the tab is on the right. And this is from the dollar store. Here the tab is somewhat off the side. So I don't want to use that one. I only have one of this one, so I'm not going to use this one either. So it doesn't really matter if you have one folder with the tab on the right and the other one on the left, because we're going to cut it in half and then it doesn't matter anymore. Now the other thing that also I found that I have letters in mind, the ones I'm going to use today. So at some point I want to paint the edges so that the letters and maybe some of this is hidden. I don't want to see that. So let's get started and cut this to size. So we need to cut 7 inches high, which is the width of the folder. So I'm going to cut a sliver off first because our folder is 14 3/8 maybe. So I'm going to cut off an 1/8. So then I have a nice rounded corner here. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to cut 7 inches. And I think I'm going to cut off a sliver here, turn it over, and cut 7 inches from here. Then I'm going to round the corners. I'm going to use a 7mm corner, because I think that's what the other one is. And I will repeat that with the other folder. So we have 4 pieces now by cutting it in half, or at least cut 7 inches off. So now there's a longer one and a shorter one, and another longer and a shorter one. We're only going to use 3 parts, so we're going to set aside one of the short parts. We're going to use it again later. And now we're going to concentrate on these 3. And now we're going to make the spine. And my folder has a tear in it, That doesn't matter. It's going to be covered up later. So we're going to score at 4 5/8 and 4 3/4. So 4 5/8 and 4 3/4. Turn it over and 4 5/8 and 4 3/4. I think you didn't even see that. Now we're going to fold on the score lines. As you can see here are my letters that are going to be in the edge that you're going to see, and I will address that later on. So I folded both edges, so now this is our spine. Okay, now I'm going to repeat that with the other two pieces. So now we have these three pieces. They're going to be our book, and we have two parts that are wider, so those are going to be the front and the back, and we have to somehow put them together, like these two have to put together. But if you look at it, right, this is shorter than that one, and because we're going to use 4x6 photographs, I want this to be the same width as the rest, so I have to find a way to connect this part and this part. Let me put that one aside, so that they're the same width as this edge over here. So the way I'm going to do that is, here's my fold. I'm going to cut 1.5 inches away from the fold, then attach this over here, and then I'm going to attach this piece a little out so that it matches the same width as the page below. This gap will be covered by our paper, so you can't see that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add double-sided tape on this side and here along this edge. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of the glue stick on to where the tape is. Then I have a little bit of wiggle room when I want to place this in place, because it has to be lining up with the spine here. You can always use a glue stick, but now I'm going to use double-sided tape here along this edge and along this edge. Again, use a tiny little bit of glue. Now I need this page to be here, so this way I can line up this piece here with the edge of the other page. Alright, now I'll do the same with these two pieces. So now we have something that looks like this. Now I'm going to round all the corners. Now I'm going to strengthen the covers, because the covers are not as secure as I want them. So from the piece that we set aside, we are going to cut an extra cover piece. And because it's already 7 inches, and I'm going to measure my cover, which is 4 3/4. So I'm going to cut off 4 3/4. Then I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to measure just to make sure that this one is also the same size. Yeah, 4 3/4. Set this aside. Now I'm going to glue this to the cover and this to this cover. And I'm going to use double-sided tape. It gives it extra strength because the tape also adds an extra layer of thickness to the cover. Always burn it double-sided tape so that it gets a good grip on your paper. I'm going to add a layer of glue to it. And burnish again. So now I'm gonna paint the edges and already started. I've tried to mix my paint as close as possible as I think I like to go with my papers that I've selected. And I've used parchment from Folk Art, yellow ochre from Artist Loft, and white from Craftsmart. And I was busy painting and I painted the wrong side. This is what is going to be glued together anyways to make the book. So now I will concentrate on the inside. And I find that painting 2 thin layers work better and they dry quicker than if you would apply 1 big coat. And I might need to go over this 2 or 3 times before that is covered. So I will be painting the rest and I will come back when everything is ready.